Hey guys, so let us get to work here. So they asked to produce this. Asked to do guys. We are given some isometric problems, and in the page one of this PDF, we have the list of isometric problems, and all the isometric problems in this page are given to us in first angle projection. So this symbol you're seeing here, let me highlight that. This symbol you're seeing here represents the symbol for first angle projection. So you can go and do your research after this video to know what first angle projection and third angle projection mean. Those are the only two types of projection you have in an isometric drawing. Sorry, in an orthographic drawing. So you can go and do research on that. So now let's proceed. So we want to first start with this drawing. Here. So the first thing we have to do, they have given us the projection. So that means any face of the drawing that is on top is the front view, and the one that is under is the top view. But now they didn't give us side view here. They only gave us top view and front view, because they feel like that, because that is enough, that's the only thing we need in order to produce the 3D sketch of this drawing. And so they give it to us as a challenge without the side view, because if they give us the side view, it will be more easier for us to interpret the drawing. But these are the major components and major dimensions that are needed to produce the whole 3D drawing. So let us get started. So right here on the side of my screen, I have my SolidWorks opened. So let us first start by creating a new 3D, a part basically called a 3D drawing. So first start by clicking on part. Wait for that to load. So now my part has really loaded up already. So now what you have to do is I have to go to basic modeling tools. Click on sketch. So now we have to select the face you want to start drawing, the plane you want to start drawing on. It's just like all these planes are just like sheet of papers, but one sheet of paper is facing you, that is a front plane, and that sheet of paper is facing the top, is facing up, that is the top plane. Another sheet of paper is facing the right, and that is your right plane. So you want to pick the plane you want to draw on. So since you want to start with the front view here, this is the front view. I want to start with this. We have to first start by drawing that front view on the front plane. So we'll click on the front plane, and that will set up the front plane for us to start drawing. So right now we can see our origin is already there. So this point here, this point that is being highlighted right now with my mouse, is called the origin. So if you go to our drawing, where can we see the origin? The origin here is A, and there's also another A here, meaning that if I'm starting with the front view, our origin must be at this point on this drawing. So let's start drawing like that. So we're going to our SolidWorks. Then we'll start by drawing that L shape. This L shape you see here. So I'm going to start drawing. I mean, highlight the different color. So I'm going to start drawing this L shape first. Then we'll then dimension it. Then I'll then talk about what this slant line here represents. So let's start by drawing the L shape first. So you can either click line here, or you can just press L. If you prefer to use a rectangle to draw the shape, if you prefer to use a rectangle method to draw the L shape, that is fine. Any method works as far as you achieve the same shape I'm having with the same dimensions. So as usual, as I said earlier, we'll start from the origin. We'll draw our L shape down to the right, make sure it's straight. Then you draw it up, make sure it is straight. Then you draw it here, then you draw it here. Just draw it anyhow for now. We'll stop here, then trace it down. So now I've achieved the L shape. Now our drawing is not closed. Our drawing is not closed. If it's closed, the inside of the L shape will be highlighted with a dark or pale blue color. But it's not being highlighted with that color now. And here's that. Our drawing did not close. See where the orange, see where we started from. See where we started drawing this line from, and see where we started drawing this always vertical line from. They are not connected, so we have to shift this point to stop there. Now our drawing is closed. So that is one of the key ways of identifying if your drawing is closed or not. So now you can just press F to bring the drawing more closer to your view. So now let's continue. So now I've drawn the L shape. Now I want to start dimensioning this L shape. So go to small dimension. And what's now the length of this line? Let's go to our sketch and check. So the length of, let me erase all this, sorry. Let me quickly erase all these lines I drew on the drawing. So I'm just like, so then, so we want to get, let me use a highlighter instead. Click on highlight. So we want to start by drawing this line that is here. And that line, they said it is 110 mm. So type in 110 here. 110. And click on enter. So now the length of here to here now is now 110. So let's get the length of here to here. So we'll go back to our sketch. Then we'll check that. They say that here the distance between this same line again and this line now is 25. So meaning that the distance between these points here and this point here is 25. So let us put that. So we'll just click here, then we'll try with that and place it there. Then click on 25, then press enter. Then now let's get the distance from here to here now. So we'll go back to our sketch. Then I see that they gave us the distance of this point right here and the one down there, as the distance between them is 25. So we'll just go to our sketch, click on that line, drag it out, then press 25 and press enter. But now let us get distance of this base. The distance between here to here. Let's get this distance. Right now is 133.29 and that is not correct. So let's jump down drawing and get the correct dimension. So now one thing with technical drawing that you can do is that you can trace the outermost part of the drawing down to get that length and trace the outermost point of the front view down again. Now how can you see the same distance from any different color? And use a different pen. So the same distance from here to here is the same as here to here. So, and that distance is 150 because we traced it down. We traced this line down like this, and that's how we got it. You can see they are connecting. So you can see that the distance from here to here is the same distance as here to here or here to here, and that is 150. So let us place it in our drawing. So just press outside, then click on 950 and press enter. So now I think everything is dimensioned now. So if you can't, there's no need to dimension here, you don't need to dimension here because it's already dimensioned already automatically. How do I know that? So if you see the distance from here, this long line is 110, right? And the distance on this short side is 25. So what do you now think will be the distance here? That's 110 minus 25, and that's 85. So let us see. Is it 85? Yes, it's 85. So there was no way to dimension out. So what about here? I'll go. Here should be 150 minus 25. And that should be 125. Is it 125? Yes, it's correct. So it was already automatically dimension because you are adjusting the shape. And when you're adjusting the shape, some parts of the shape will be shifting with it. So those parts that shifting with it might not need to be dimensioned. And even if you try dimension it, you'll get an error telling us this error is basically telling us that the sketch already defined the dimensions for that has already been defined. So if I still choosing to add this, to only add it as a driven dimension, knowing a dimension that you cannot change. So let's proceed then. So I've created the L shape, right? So I've created the L shape. What now is remaining is this slant according to the front view. But now this slant is not exactly on this side of the drawing. If you extrude this L shape, the slant should be in the center of the drawing. See, if you look at the front view, this is the distance, this is the thickness of this 110 also shows the thickness of how far we extruded the L shape. Right now, we will drew this flat to the drawing this is here. If you look at the L shape on the top, we will see just this straight line that is here. This straight line that I just drew. This is the only straight line we see. Let me if I go to the front view by pressing the y-axis, it's just the straight line we see. But no, we want the drawing to come out like this and like this. And for us, now that slant I was talking about is in the middle. This slant is called a rib actually, so let me call it a rib. So this rib is not actually on this side of the drawing. It's actually in the center of the drawing, as you can see from the drawing. It's in the center of the drawing. So we'll not start by drawing this slant first. We'll start by extruding this L shape. Then we'll now add that rib at the center of the drawing. So let's proceed to extrude. So we'll click on the Z axis here to put our front view back. Then we'll click on F to bring the drawing to our center of the screen. So we'll then go to features, then we'll then click on extrude brush /base. So now it's extruding it to the front, as you can see from those arrows pointing to the front. It's always going to point to the front automatically, so sometimes you might want to turn the drawing back. So we want our drawing to go backwards. We want to extrude it from the front to the back, and not from the back to the front. So what's the thickness of this drawing? When we look at it from the top view, we saw that the thickness of this where we are right now, the thickness of it is 110. So if you look at it from the top view again, that line I'm showing you, how thick is it? How far should this drawing come out? That is 110 from the top view. So we'll just put 110 here, then click on enter. I think you're starting to see the drawing coming up here. Sorry, I pressed F somewhere. Okay. Also 110 millimeters, so click on enter. And go here, we press F. See that the drawing now is complete. So that was the distance from this outer part of the yellow line to this black line is 110. That's the thickness of the drawing. So if you click on enter and accept that, I've created the 3D now. So now if you rotate the drawing, we'll see the L shape. Yes, I've extruded the L shape. I've extruded it out. So now, what is now remaining now? So let us check our front view. What's remaining in the front view? What's remaining in the front view is that slant. So let us check the top view. What's remaining now is that rib that is in the center. That slant has been in the center of the drawing, because we're not seeing that rectangle that was there before. Yeah. See now, this is the rectangle I'm talking about. It must be in the center. That rib must be in the center. So let us draw that rib now. So for us to draw that rib, we have to draw it in the center of the drawing. And where is the center of the drawing? This is the center of, we'll look for the center on this line first. So where is the center of this line? Let's go here. Find the center of this drawing. So the center of any of these lines, this line, or this line represents our center of drawing. So center of this 3D shape. So we want to add a plane there. I want to add a plane there because remember our plane is our drawing sheet. So we want to draw on that plane. So we just go to features here, you click on features, look for reference geometry and click on plane. So now we're in plane now. So we have to find the center of this joint. Yes, the center here. And we can use this one here, or we can use this one here, or we can use this one there. So I'll choose to use the one here. Just click on it. So right now, our plane is in the center of the drawing. As you can see, the yellow line is cutting through the drawing at the center. So if you rotate it like this and put it like this, you can see that the plane is actually in the center of the drawing, in the center of this face right here, is in the center of that face. But now, before we can be able to put this plane, like I said, this plane must select a second reference, and that second reference is any face that is facing in this direction of this array. We can select this one. So we'll select it, and now our plane is defined, fully defined. So we can now click OK to accept it. So now I've drawn that plane. So now let me just extend the plane out a bit, make it bigger by pulling the outer corners. So now we have made it bigger. So now we'll put our drawing in the front view, and we can start drawing that slant. Now. So we'll click L to start drawing. I'll select this plane because we want to start drawing on this plane. So we'll then draw that line from this point and stop. So okay, I'm going to start drawing. Click on this point, then stop anywhere here. So if you rotate the drawing, you see that I'm not even drawing on the right side of the drawing. The line should be in the center of the drawing. So escape. Then they do this line that we just drawn because it's not the right position. So we rotate the drawing and try to select this line. Then they will that line. Then now, for us to draw on this plane, but we're never drawing on the plane. As you can see, when we drew that line, let me go back. When we drew that line, it was outside the plane. See where the plane is, and see where the line is. This is not where the slant is. The slant should be in the middle of the drawing. So I also delete that line and draw it on this plane. For us to draw on this plane, let's first exit the sketch. After I've exited the sketch, we'll right click on this plane, then click on this sketch button to sketch on that plane. So then if you draw the line now, click on L to start drawing line, or you click on the line button at the top there to start drawing. Then we'll now stop the line somewhere around here. And after you stop the drawing, I've stopped drawing the line, so we click on escape, then rotate the drawing. Now can you see the slant now is in the center of the drawing. So whenever you draw on a 2D drawing, you always rotate to see if you're drawing on the right place, just so that you avoid errors as you're doing. So click on F, then I'll click on the front view to bring it back to the front view. So right now that we're drawing the slant, there are 3 ways we can add the rib. That rib, or that slope, or that slanty 3D drawing, that slant in the center. We now force to extrude this slant now. We can either use a rib or we can use normal extrude. So let me show you how to use normal extrude. So for us to use normal extrude, we extrude it to the front or to extrude it to the back. But for us to use extrude, we have to first create a whole shape. Meaning that we have to close this shape. We have to create a closed shape. So as usual, for us to create a closed shape, we must connect all the lines to each other. So we will connect from here to here and here to here. So now it's a closed shape now because the inside is highlighted as dark pale blue. So click on skip, and now I can see the triangle now. So now it's not time for us to extrude it. So now for us to extrude it, you have to extrude it on both sides. So we'll put both direction 1 open and direction 2 open. So now I can see it's extruding it, but now I want to add the thickness of that extrude. Oh, first, okay, I forgot. Before we extrude, we should have dimensioned that line. So we go back to this right point, click on it. Okay, we're already sketching already. So just click on the Z axis. Then we have to dimension the distance from this line. So if we go back to our drawing and check that distance, what can we see? You can see that they gave us the distance from here to here as 100. So we just put that dimension there. Go back to sketch, click on smart dimension, click on these points, click on these points, but put the distance from that to there as 100. And that is all. We can then go back to our extrude and start extruding the drawing. So right now we'll rotate it to see it here, both direction, one and both directions. So then we go back to our drawing and check the thickness of how much we should extrude. So from the top view, let's look at the top view in our drawing first. So put the top view in our drawing. So now how far out should that rectangle come out? Should we extrude? So you can start to give us the distance from here, from this point. Let me erase all of this first. So I just erase all of this. We're gonna go here. So they give us the distance from here to here as 25. So we put that 25 as a thickness. But now since we're using extrude, we have to add that 25 on. We have to add half of the 25 on both sides. So add half of 25 here. That should be 12.5 powders. Let's just put it like that, and that will give us 12.5. And you can then tap 12.5 here also. Now you can see that the thickness have reduced, and that is what we want. So we'll just click on enter to accept it. So now we're done with the drawing. But before I end this video, I want to show you another method of adding this setting using what we call rig. Because this thing we just created, this triangle, this triangle slide we just created is actually called a rig. And wouldn't it now make sense if you use the tool that has the name of what you want to draw it? So let us use rig. Just go back, or just stay with okay. Well, now for us to use extrude, what we just need is just this slant line. We don't need to fully create a shape. Now for us to draw this slant line, so I don't delete the vertical and horizontal of that triangle. Just delete it. Then we'll first extrude, check if the line was still dimension, because we just deleted the dimensions. So check if that distance of 100 is still dimensioned. So just click there and click here. Yes, it's still 100, so we can just press escape, there's no need. So now, for us to use rig, you go to features. And first you must exit your sketch first, once you get an error. So as you can see the rig. So if you check up here somewhere, you see rig. I cannot see my own right now because something was covering my screen. So if you check somewhere up here, you see rig. And that rig, you cannot click on it right now because we are currently in a 2D sketch. I'm currently editing in 2D. So for us to exit the sketch of the 2D, you have to click on this blue drawing so that we can start viewing our drawing in 3D. We can start editing a drawing with a 3D tool. So as you click on that button now, wow, you can now click on that rig now. So you can click on the rig there, or you can just press S on your keyboard and search for rig. So that's what I'll do now. I'll click on rig. Then now, that telling us to select the 2D part of the face or the sketch that we want to extrude. So I want to extrude this. I want to rib down this line here into a rib. So you have to click on this line. You can see that the rib is already giving us what we want, and the thickness is not correct because the thickness of the rib from the drawing is 25, and the distance from this segment I drew this point, I drew it to this point is 25. So directly we just put it, there's only to divide it by 2, but so automatically give the distance between the 2 points as 25. So then we put it in the front view or the top view so that you see that it changes. So if I put 2.5, you will see now when I click enter, now you see that rig really changed to 25. So now at this point you can just click on accept to accept the rig. And I've rotated the drawing. That is the rig there. So we can hide this to player 1. We can hide this player 1 and then check out the drawing very well. So that is our rig there. And that is all for this video. Thank you for watching.